Greetings and welcome to Marvel Basics with your boy, BMarvel. This week we're talking about The Incredible Hulk. It was created by Universal and Marvel Studios. It was also directed by Louis Leterrier and written by Zach Penn. It was released June 12th in 2008, and that was just a little under a month when Iron Man came out. So we had Iron Man in May and now Hulk in June. So, this movie was not my most favorite. Starting off with the origin. So at the beginning of the movie, we see a couple of flashbacks as to what happened. We see Bruce Banner, played by Edward Norton, strapped to a chair. Some science experiments are happening. We see a green light over his eye, and then boom, he is the Hulk. In the comic books, that's not how it plays out. In the comic books, Bruce Banner is doing gamma radiation research to create a weapon for the U.S. Defense Division. And then, as they're testing one of the missiles, they notice that there's a teenager out on the testing field, and Bruce Banner goes running out to save the kid. He shoves him into a ditch to spare his life, and that's when Bruce Banner is caught in the crossfire and takes on the gamma radiation and turns into the Hulk. Also, his powers in the comic books, they would activate at sunset, and then he would turn back to Bruce Banner at sunrise. As time progressed, though, the mutation of the gamma radiation changed, and it would activate when his heart would get to pumping really fast, or any adrenaline or scared. So also in the beginning scenes, we see his love interest, Betty Ross, that's played by Miss Liz Tyler. I am not a fan of her in this movie. I understand that she's supposed to show the soft side and bring out the humanity in the Hulk. She's just way too soft-spoken in this movie. Every scene is a whisper. I just can't get over this woman. She's a thumbs down in my opinion. I know she was in Lord of the Rings and did pretty well. This one, not a fan of. So after the opening scenes, we see Bruce Banner is in Brazil. He's trying to stay calm. He's learning how to breathe, meditate, different maneuver fighting techniques to help him stay calm so he can defend himself without turning into the Hulk. So while he's there, he's researching a flower. He's trying to find a flower that will help to make a potion to help him from not turning into the Hulk. Too bad Professor Snape wasn't there to help him out with that one. So while Bruce Banner is in Brazil, he's working at a soda bottling factory. While he's there working, he ends up cutting his finger and some of the blood drops down onto the conveyor belt. He tries to stop production to clean up the blood because his blood is toxic to everyone, so anyone exposed to it will be exposed to gamma radiation. He ends up missing some. There's some left on one of the empty bottles. It gets filled, packaged, sent, and unfortunately Stan the Man is the one that ends up drinking it. He gets poisoned, and that's how they're able to pinpoint his location, that the soda came from Brazil, so of course there has to be a white male skinny guy looking like Bruce Banner there. So they send to Brazil General Ross and his sidekick Blonsky. So General Ross is played by William Hurt and Blonsky is played by Tim Roth. Blonsky ends up becoming Abomination towards the end of the movie, and it's just not that great. It ends up being like a Hulk vs. Hulk, and the action scenes just weren't all that fantastic, and the payoff, in my opinion, just is not worth it in this film. So they end up tracking Bruce Banner down at the soda bottle company that he works at while he was getting beat up by a gang of Brazilian men there, and the military show up and start making their way in. That's when we see that his heart rate goes over 200 beats per minute and he transforms into the Hulk. It was cool watching him transform. Him being in the smoke and clouds, and made it very mysterious, but we just saw a silhouette of Hulk. It wasn't a full-blown bam, I'm the Incredible Hulk. So, maybe next time. So after the battle at the soda bottling factory, we end up finding Bruce Banner in Guatemala. So the Hulk has the power to jump country to country because he's the Hulk and his legs are just that strong. So from Guatemala, he comes to the U.S. He's heading towards the university that old Betty Ross works at. That woman. Just not a fan. So, well, the best part about him going to the university is that the military ends up finding out that he's there, and they trap him in a glass room, throwing a couple smoke grenades, and as Bruce Banner is looking out the window, he sees that Betty's being rough-handled by military personnel, and he ends up snapping and fully becoming the Hulk, and it's pretty awesome. He comes busting out the glass, he's fighting different armored vehicles, and about halfway through the scene they bring out these sonar trucks that come from Stark Industry. So they were created in case the Hulk were to attack, and they were supposed to break his concentration to where he would just be immobile. Unfortunately, it didn't work, because the more angry the Hulk becomes, the stronger he gets. So he just got pissed off and ended up breaking those and just trashing the entire area. So towards the end of that fight, they see it's a helicopter that is brought down on top of Hulk, and he's able to shield Betty Ross, and she's unconscious, so when Hulk stands up, it's like Betty Ross is laying there dead. Hulk is pissed off, looks at General Ross, shakes his head, and takes off. From there, we get an intimate scene where it's Hulk and Betty in the cave, and you can see that Hulk recognizes her, still has love for her, because it's still Bruce Banner inside. But then the lightning strikes, and Hulk freaks out. He throws a rock, and he starts screaming like he's never experienced a thunderstorm before. I find that a little odd, as all this time you don't know how to deal with thunder and lightning, but hey, I didn't write the movie. General Ross's solution to this problem is to make his own weaponized version of the Hulk. Blonsky's the one that decides to volunteer and say that he's the man because he's such a fighter. It ends up making him more power hungry, and he just wants more and more of it to fully make that transformation. So we have Bruce Banner and Betty Ross out on the road trying to find Professor Stearns. Professor Stearns is the one that was emailing Bruce Banner as Mr. Blue and then calling Banner Mr. Green. Play on colors there. Professor Stearns thinks that he can help cure Bruce Banner of this gamma radiation poisoning, so he send over a blood sample. We find out towards the end of the movie that this one blood sample has been multiplied to multiple different dosages of the gamma-infected blood. Professor Stearns is successful in making basically a Band-Aid. I wouldn't call it an antidote, because after he injected the Hulk with this antidote, he was able to transform back and stay as Bruce Banner for a while. But then once Bruce Banner jumps out of an airplane towards the end of the movie, lands on the ground, the Hulk is back awakened and inside. So while Bruce Banner is trying to get cured of his Hulk situation, the military is on the way to the lab that Professor Stearns is at. So after the transformation and Bruce Banner stays Bruce Banner, that's when the military shows up. They end up taking Banner away because they want to do tests on him to try to extract the Hulk out of him. So when all the military personnel leave, there's one person that stays behind, and that's, of course, Blonsky, because he knows that if anyone can help him reach that next level of Hulk potential, it's going to be Professor Stearns. So Professor Stearns starts to whip up a serum and ends up injecting him, And as he starts transforming, Professor Stearns calls him an abomination, which is where he gets his name from. After Blonsky becomes Abomination, he goes out and terrorizes New York. He's just attacking people, killing, throwing cars around, just pure destruction. So that's when our hero Bruce Banner jumps out of a plane, lands on the ground, emerges as the Hulk, and our big final fight is about to happen. They take turn exchanging blows. Abomination has the upper hand on him at first, but like we discussed earlier, the more angry he becomes, the stronger he is. One of my favorite scenes during their fight is when Hulk yells, "Hulk smash," and he smashes the ground, and the chains go around Abomination's neck, and Hulk just is about to end it. But then we have Miss Sensitive Betty Ross that wants to interrupt and say, "No, stop." She doesn't want the Hulk to be a killer. I get it. But what other way is there to stop Abomination? I don't think that you guys could strap him down or put a straitjacket on him to make him behave. So after the battle between Hulk and Abomination, Hulk lets out this huge scream like he owns the world because it's the Hulk. And then he takes off. He's off on the road, and hopefully we'll see him again. So then after the film, we have our second post-credits scene in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We see that General Ross is sitting in a bar, smoking a cigar, throwing back some green shots, just miserable that he lost the Hulk, and basically he just had one terrible day. In comes strolling in Robert Downey Jr., aka Tony Stark / Iron Man. This was one of the first post-credit scenes that tied other movies into each other, and he ends up talking to Ross about they're putting a team together, aka the Avengers Initiative. So we are starting to see how Phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is starting to shape up. Alright, so here are 5 Easter eggs that I found in The Incredible Hulk. Number 1. At the beginning of the movie, you can see Stark Industries and Nick Fury's name on different documents referring to different machinery and military weapons that they are creating to go after the Hulk and try to stop him. Number 2, Stan Lee. So Stan the Man can be seen grabbing one of the green sodas out of the refrigerator that has some of the gamma-infected blood inside of it. He ends up drinking it and gets poisoned. Number 3, we have the security guard. So at the university where Bruce Banner goes dressed as a pizza man, disguised as a pizza man, the security guard is Lou Ferrigno. He is the guy that played Hulk in the original TV series. So let's see, number 4. After the shower scene where Bruce Banner is at the hotel with Betty Ross, she throws him a pair of purple shorts. The purple shorts are a throwback to the comic book because Hulk normally has purple shorts on because purple and green go along so well. You know, kind of like Barney. And then number 5, Abomination. So while Blonsky is in the lab getting his final injection of the serum, he starts to morph, and that's when Professor Stern calls him an abomination. Alright, so the box office numbers from The Incredible Hulk are brought to you by BoxOfficeMojo.com. So the movie was budgeted for $150 million. Opening weekend, it made $55.4 million, and it opened number 1 in 3,505 different theaters. It also domestically made $134 million. Foreign across seas, it was $128 million. So total worldwide, Hulk ended up making $263 million. So Iron Man had a bigger opening weekend by $43.2 million, obviously because it was a better movie. So do you have any issues with the Hulk's origin in this movie, or would you like to see another Hulk standalone movie after witnessing this one? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you nerds next time. Bye.